Chad, let me tell you something. We got it done. We did it. That's a W. Let's talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.
Boy, we came to eat, and we got it done in Neland. We'll talk about it. Welcome to the South End Zone. My name is Tyler, joined by my friend Chad. As always, welcome to the South End Zone podcast. Before we get into it, I'll make sure to tell everybody like, share, comment, subscribe. All I can say is holy shit. That is the how I feel right now. We'll talk about. There's a lot to get into it, but Chad, I appreciate you just keeping me on the even keel this weekend. That's what I first want to start off by saying.
Sometimes you got to be a friend. You got to tell when your friend is melting down while he's watching his team go down 2 scores on the road. You guys be like, "Hey, man, calm down. Y'all got this. You're good. You're all right. Just get a score, get a stop. Get another possession. Go down there, take care of business." Of course, you. Now, I will say this. This is what was crazy. So, college game day, first 2 weeks, not week 0, but week 1, week 2, they had their guest kicker and their little kicker that they pull, some college kid,
for
right?
Money.
First 2 guys nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams won. Ohio State won, and then the following week, was it Texas A&M?
No, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah, that's right. I knew somebody in maroon. Yeah, Oklahoma against Michigan, right? So they go and they get this kid this weekend. They give him 2 shots at it. He misses both of them. Tennessee kid. I'm just like, you know how this is going to go down. How did it go down, Tyler? They missed a field goal that would have iced it. A chip shot field goal.
Dude.
Like, where's Pat McAfee to try to give that kid $300,000? He might have made it.
Let me tell you, we tried our hardest to lose this game at certain points of this. I will not lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of me wants to say, yeah, Tennessee probably could have won this game. But at the end of the day, we battled hard and we played with such energy down the stretch that I don't think last year's team would have had if we were in a similar situation. And I was texting you that this felt like the alternate universe version of the game that we had with Alabama last year, because off the rip, right? Mm-hmm. Aguilar, I said before this, like Tennessee made me nervous. Like they looked good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you were texting me. You're like,
good.
My brother's saying I'm crazy to be nervous about this game.
Yeah, like he's like dogs by a million. I'm like, buddy, have you watched their? He did, but like he's obviously a very optimistic guy. I don't know. I'm just jaded for whatever reason. But they show up, they go right down the field and score. Right? I'm like, well, they did exactly what they wanted on their first drive. Let's see if we can answer. We do with our own, perfect drive. It's very clear that like every team like scripts like their first drive or whatever. You run it to perfection. We ran ours to perfection, and then we turn around and then let them throw one deep on us on the first play of their next drive.
Yo, and there were some crazy plays too. Dude, you had a ball bounce off a defender, and like the defender falls down as the ball's bouncing right into his hands, and he's taking it.
It was like the ghosts of Georgia's past with like different.
Yeah, for real. That was like the Auburn game.
Yes, we'll get into it later, but there was like different scenarios and situations and like visuals. I'm like, I've seen this before. So that was a 5-star red shirt that got just that fell down. They walk it in for a touchdown.
Right.
Then they score again, and it's now 21-7. And we're, it's looking like that Alabama game where we spotted them 28 early. Aguilar, I don't know if you know this, Chad. He went 14 for 14 with 213 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Against us.
Insane.
And I was like, we gotta button it up. And let me tell you, Zachariah Branch is worth his weight in gold. He is what I like to call slot Jesus. And because Mike Bobo loves his screens, we throw one to him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you see like 3 defenders have like a decent angle with him on the sideline, and it doesn't even matter. It's like this track speed to a T.
Yeah. No.
And scores.
You get frustrated a lot, and I know a lot of people do. They get frustrated with coaches that they do this sideways kind of lateral passing game, right? And I think those coaches, in their mind, they're throwing the ball to Zachariah Branch on all these plays. It's like, yeah, but if you don't have Zachariah Branch, it typically doesn't work out like that. You've got to have the guy who can lose you in a phone booth and how.
Yeah, it was great. And then, so we make it 21-14, a lot better than 21-7. We take that. And then our DBs were just having a rough time in that first half. Even like Dalen Everett, who was the star of a Texas game last year, was getting picked on. And like ours looked great, and we were like helping him do that at certain points in the game. And we were not getting pressure like we typically do. Like I just don't remember giving a quarterback this clean of a pocket in a long time. I'm being honest with you, Chad. And even when we got him out of the pocket, he still made great throws downfield after the fact. So it's all credit to him when I'm saying these things. And then we finally, Joe Delaguero, he plays that like star position like Harold Perkins does, but he'll drop back a lot, and he makes a great pick. He's healthy this year. It was awesome. And then we make it 21-17 because they stopped us in the red zone. We then take the lead in the third quarter. Great. We open up because Kirby's smart is like the 4 minutes going into the half and the 4 minutes coming out are like his money making. Like you got to execute at these points in time. And so we execute, we score, we pick off Aguilar. We start to get the momentum on our side. It's shifting. You can feel it. And then we go down the field and it's like 4th and 3 on their 30 and we kick the field goal. And then I'm like, but we had them on their heels. And then so
where do you so I see where you are on that, and I think that's one of the it's a worthwhile discussion to have about when you do that. And I'll give you the Matt Moscona take on this, which I actually tend to agree with. Right, it's the game. The object of the game is to score points, more points than your opponent. And when you go 60 yards and you stall out at the 20, at the 30, whatever it is, there are 3 points there. Take the 3 points.
I don't disagree.
Because you try to get more points than that, and it's the same thing, that same argument I have with when you have 2 strikes. You can try to hit a home run, but you're probably going to strike out, pop it up, or roll one over to the shortstop. You might be able to get a touchdown out of that possession, but there's 3 points just sitting there waiting for you. And we saw Lane Kiffin do this a lot last year, where he would go for it to a fault on 4th down in the red zone and come away with nothing. And so, I mean, look at the way this game ended. Are you mad now that they?
Absolutely not. I'm just walking you through my emotions as this thing rolls on, because
you got to go through your whole thought process as you're watching the game. I get it. Field
goal makes it 27-21, and then they turn around, score a touchdown, and they have the lead automatically, 28-27. So it's like that hurts, knowing we had the momentum and we have a lot of options on short yardage situations, and we're deep on their side. I don't disagree with taking points, but we had battled back up at this point. I think we had to take it by the throat in that moment.
Right.
Obviously, it all worked out in the end. This is just my kind of thoughts and notes. We then, get deeper in the fourth quarter. We trade a couple more scores, and then Gunner strip sack, fumble.
Looked very Carson Beck.
Very Carson Beck. It's always the edge just gets underneath and then wraps around the back, and then just like comes down on the arm as he's like, exactly what happened to Beck twice last year. The second one obviously put him out for the rest of the year. So they do that. They extend the lead to 8, and then it's gut check time. 6:30 left. We got the ball, and I was very impressed. Stockton, after getting strip sacked, we give up points. We go back down and score.
Well, hang on. All right, I got to stop you here because
in the score. Sorry.
From my standpoint, as I'm watching this game, what I'm seeing is they can't stop you running the ball.
No, which we ran the ball pretty damn well.
You ran for almost 200 yards as a team.
Yeah.
98, and that includes the sacks and everything else. It's not sack adjusted. So as you get the ball, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, if you just control this possession, don't do anything stupid, don't create any kind of like negative plays or get yourself in 3rd and long or anything like that, you'll be fine. And you go down and march down. So like I want to take a step back just momentarily to give some respect to the running game, because the way that you guys ran the ball was actually really impressive. And it wasn't just Nate Frazier. You had the Bowens kid. You had
he's good.
Gunnar Stockton was doing his thing too.
And McCray had some timely.
McCray had a handful of like you said, very timely runs.
Yeah,
so
it was perfect.
Respect to that.
It was perfect. It felt like true Georgia running game where we had our guy, and then we had like 1 or 2 other guys that we could throw in there.
Yep.
And they would deliver on, less carries, but get very timely downs, and you know what I mean.
Between giving a spell to give him some rest, but also like change of pace.
Right.
So it's not the same look every time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was awesome. And then Stockton throws a 4th and 6, by the way, too. Throws a beautiful ball to Humphreys, who I've talked about.
Yeah.
He transferred to us last year from Vandy.
That was
beautiful
clutch.
Ball, dude. And that was Stockton's moment to be like, we had Carson back the last 2 years. People weren't sure if they wanted me as the quarterback. The national media was back and forth on me as the quarterback of this team. And I step up in Neland Stadium when they think they have us dead to rights. And I deliver a beautiful strike and a beautiful ball to then take the lead. No,
Yep.
yes.
Well, no, to tie it up.
To tie the game. I'm sorry, to tie the game. Because And then I'm like, all of the bad thoughts start when we tie the game, and all the bad thoughts and everything. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Holy shit! Because then we get the 2-point conversion because we were down 8.
Right.
We get the 2-point conversion to tie. Zachariah Branch, thank you very much.
Yeah. Great play. Like
great play.
Bubbling him out in the flat.
If there's one thing that Bobo can do, he's got a bag of 2-point conversion.
Yes.
As we saw last year.
Of course, that bag we have discovered is only 7 deep.
Yeah.
Because when you get to 8, that's when you have to just start running the ball. First down running play.
Up the middle. See if you can get it. And then it's like, okay, they're being smart. They're taking it off clock. And like they're like, okay, it's clear. They're just going to want the ball in the air with zeros on the clock.
Right.
But that's their goal. They're going to get up there, try to score a touchdown. If not, they're just going to put where the kicker wants it. And that'll be the ball game. And me and my family are kind of coming to this realization, like this is exactly what they're going to do. Heupel's going to have his winning moment in Neland, and they might even rush the field because everybody does that nowadays. And it's going to be a thing because they haven't beat, and they kept mentioning the fact that they haven't beat us since 20us, and the way that they beat us.
You were stressing out about that too.
Yes,
you were like, man, they're jinxing us. They keep talking about it.
The way that game ended was us throwing a beautiful ball down the sideline with little time left to then give Josh Dobbs a Hail Mary to Jawan Jennings with no time left in Athens. That's the last time they won. And so, like, my brother and one of my other friends was like, he's going to miss it. He's going to miss it. I'm like, I can't even watch. And so I didn't. I turned around. I didn't even see the ball go up, nothing. I just hear all my family screaming, and he missed. And then we go to OT, and we stand up. We force a field goal. And let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so hyped. And when we hand that ball off to Nate Frazier, and he catches the outside on the left.
I thought he was gone.
And I literally start screaming word for word, Sony Michel, it's going to take the dogs back. Because it's just it was literally like, had the exact same like look of when Sony walked it off in the Rose Bowl. And I'm like, and then he gets stopped. And it was almost weird because then we punch it in and then we win on we actually score a touchdown, game over.
Yeah, right.
So a roller coaster of emotions. Part of me was like, we don't even deserve to win this game if they beat us because we've done all these different things and we didn't look good in the first half, but we battled back in the second half. And with the grit and grind of that game, took years off my life. And you know what, Chad? I I am tired of being in instant classics
I
on like
agree.
a semi-yearly basis. It's not good for my health.
I know the feeling.
Namaste. That's a W, baby. That's all I care about. If we move
Survive
on.
in advance, right?
We got a bye week and Bama in 2 weeks.
And
then we'll do it all over again.
Yep. That's going to be a real interesting one because they've got a bye week too. They look like they're hitting on all cylinders now, whereas they weren't a couple of weeks ago. But let's consider the competition. We'll get into that a little later. We're going to cover that game. But before we do that, we had a game.
You did indeed. Tell me all about it, Chad.
The Tigers. Let's go. What did we tell you, Florida fans, about DJ Lagway, Billy Napier, and the Florida Gators and all the hype? We told you to pump the brakes. You called us crazy. The comments, we're going to do a whole episode where we just go through the comments, all the things that you said to us about our episode where we said pump the brakes on DJ Lagway. We said nothing against the guy, nothing against Billy Napier, nothing against these guys, but the hype just is out over the skis. The hype exceeds what we have seen so far and what the realistic expectations should be. All we were saying is let's take a step back, drink a little dose of reality, and try to bring things to like somewhere where we can be calm and measured and realistic in our expectations. That's all we were saying. Just wanted you to be a little more realistic with your expectations. No, I heard it ad nauseum, lying stats about yards per attempt leading the nation, which was incorrect. And also, if you take out now it's to the point where if you go back, I'm going to pull it up. If you go back and take out his stats against FCS opponents, he has like more interceptions than touchdowns at this point, and he's like sub 60 completion percentage. And I think his yards per attempt are in like the, I don't know, maybe 7.5 range, which isn't terrible. But, and look, he put up yards. But the thing is, if you look at what Blake Baker did, that's why so, man, as an LSU fan, it is so fun to watch Blake Baker bring LSU defense back to where it has been in the past, because this is what we do. And the offense has not really been unlocked. I'm going to get into like what happened after the game, Brian Kelly's press conference, where he lit into a reporter for immediately first question off the rip is just about the offense. He's like, dude, we just picked this dude off 5 times and won a game against a SEC rival in a team that beat us last year. And we're 3-0, and you want to talk about like offensive struggles. We won the game. We did enough to win the game. And sometimes you just play to not give your opponent an opportunity to capitalize on a mistake. And I get it. Like, people want to see like Garrett Nussmeier throw for 4,000 yards again and take the top off the defense and blow it up and really just I think some of those games are coming. They haven't had the necessity to do that yet. But you look at it, and this is the part that's kind of crazy about this to me, is Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not Garrett Nussmeier. Blake Baker and the LSU defense has allowed 20 total points in the first half in 3 games. That's an average of just under 7 points a game. They have allowed 7 total points in the second half in 3 games. And that 7 points was last week against Louisiana Tech in mop-up garbage time when we had like our second and third string guys out there. And they had a busted coverage on one play. That's it. Like, this defense is coming. They're coming to play. Another shutout in the second half. They shut out Clemson in the second half, week 1. Shut out Florida in the second half in this game. And I guess, if I want to get into like my game notes, off the rip, like the way that this game started is, I think, Florida's 3rd play of the game. Whit Weeks, All-American preseason, and like the best defensive player on this whole team, is like the leader, the field general for this defense, gets ejected from the game for targeting on a BS targeting call, where he's literally just like going in and making a standard tackle that for like 150 years was just a standard tackle. And now it's like this, you meet this definition of like, if your head is here and like it doesn't matter if the runner lowers his head into the crown of your helmet.
Yeah,
like
I know.
It's crazy. Something's got to be done about this. It is what it is. Like, it fits the rules, just like what we talked about a few weeks ago with the catch from Barryon Brown, the touchdown against Clemson. That wasn't by the letter of the rule. The call was correct. It's just the rule is stupid, is what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So that sets up Florida to get an early field goal. They take a lead, 3-0. A little later on, Deshaun Spears gets his first pick of the game. And Nussmeier was kind of out of sync. Like, he had a couple of balls batted down early on, but started to get it together. I think he was like 1 for his first 8, but then he went like 7 for 8 for 74 yards, and like it started to really kind of put it together. Still wasn't like anything dramatic. But the crazy thing is, remember we talked about this in the preseason, and I hate to sound like an Iowa fan, but we talked about when you're trying to build a championship caliber team and you have like the quarterback returning who has the most yards of any returning quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, with the only 4,000-yard passer returning. You go get all these receivers in the portal. You have Caden Durham, who's like a preseason all-SEC, the guy who's projected to lead the conference in rushing before the season by all the beat writers. You have all these weapons on offense. You rebuild your offensive line. You have all this stuff. But then you go and you build a defense through the portal and through the high school ranks as some of these guys mature. The last piece of the puzzle, when you've already got Damian Ramos, who is like an ace place kicker, you go get a punter who can like pin teams deep. And what does Grant Chadwick do? 7 punts on the night. We only scored 20 points. 7 punts for a 50.4 average. And I think he had like maybe 30 yards of returns. So out of 350 yards, 320 of it was like net. So he's sitting there with a 45-plus yard net punting average. Pretty elite. And LSU got away with one a little bit. It was a good holding call, but an 87-yard touchdown to Jaden Baugh got wiped out by a holding penalty. That would have put Florida up 10-0. Did not happen. LSU comes back down, gets a field goal from Damian Ramos. Harold Perkins was just all over in the backfield. They were all over in DJ Lagway's feet. And it's the thing that I talked about before the season. Like, this team is going to be all over defensive backfield or offensive backfields, making quarterbacks' days a nightmare. And that's what you saw tonight, Saturday night. And you end up with, so you have the pick from Spears early. Then later on, you get the Aaron Anderson just like doing his thing, grinding, setting up a Xavier Thomas touchdown for LSU to go up 10-3. Then they get a touchdown from Aiden Mizell, who like Florida goes down and like answers right back. And now it's 10-10. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they've got something here. Blake Baker makes the adjustments. That's it. LSU slams the door. The entire second half, Florida does nothing. In fact, right before the end of the first half, Billy Napier tries to do a little too much, puts the ball in DJ Lagway's hands with under a minute to go in the first half. He throws the ball across the middle. AJ Halsey runs in front, picks it off. And now that sets up a field goal from Damian Ramos to take a 13-10 lead at half. And from that point on, it was, you have like blitz packages all over. Tamarcus Cooley's coming. Mansour Delane is coming. The linebackers are coming. Perkins, of course, is coming from the star position. And then you end up with the Deshaun Spears INT that he takes back to the house. And that puts it away. It's 2010 at that point. West Weeks looks like he injured his calf. You got more pressure on the quarterback in there, and then Tamarcus Cooley gets a pick off or INT in the end zone, picks off Lagway for the fourth one, and then Pickett just seals it at the end of the game with like 5 minutes left, with a pick on the sideline. Freshman 5-star stud DJ Pickett is making his mark, first career interception, and LSU takes it home 20-10. I know Florida is kind of on the ropes right now, and it's easy to look at them and pick on them for, for this not being like a big deal. But the reality of the matter is, I don't know how to really gauge Florida right now, because I can't imagine what it's like to be Billy Napier and that whole squad,
Right.
and like staring that schedule down and thinking like I would be willing to bet. I mean, they're human beings, that they kind of thought South Florida was going to be a little bit more of a pushover, and you saw what Miami did to them. I think they just kind of caught Florida a little flat. And looking ahead to this game, and then Florida's got Miami coming up after that, and it's just like it's a gauntlet. Like we talked about it. Like I don't know that Billy Napier survives their next bye week.
I know it's
going to be tough.
Yeah. It's tough. He's one of the guys that they're calling for it last year. There was enough redemption towards the end of the season where they turned it around kind of late. It made it like a season that like wasn't great, but like it could have been a hell of a lot worse. You know what I mean? Right. So they kind of picked up the pieces, but then we're kind of starting right where they were kind of middle of last season, and it's not good.
Right.
I don't know how much longer he lasts. But hey, shout out to you, man. This podcast is still undefeated on the season, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let you forget it.
That's
so
right.
There was some great
John Mateer, DJ Lagway. We'll get into Lenora Sellers in a little bit. We probably should have done a pump the tires on Diego Pavia. We didn't think about that.
So funny enough, there are two people that I would have wished I would have done pump the tires on. It's Diego Pavia and Bo Perbula, because I loved the both of them since before the season. And either way, there were some great other games around the country this past weekend. One of which was an absolute barn burner in South Bend, Indiana. Oh my goodness gracious! I also want to give a quick, kind of like love prayers, glad you're okay to Bryce Anderson, safety for Texas A&M, tried to make a tackle, neck got jarred. It's one of those things where it's like he tries to make the tackle, and then he's just laying there like this, like on his stomach and not like attempting to move. And like your heart just sinks in that moment. But he put out a tweet. He's all good. He can feel everything. He's probably might have a concussion. If I'm not, she wouldn't be shocked. But like you fear the worst when you see those kind of things, and it really takes you out of the. You're like, oh, we're all human beings, and this is a dangerous sport. And so for him to be okay is a great thing. But from Texas A&M from last year to this year is like, in my opinion, might be worlds different. Chad, maybe not, but. Let Marcel Reed throw the ball, and he threw for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did have a pick, but the Notre Dame DBs are good. Mario Craver is a problem. He transferred from Mississippi State. I don't know if you know his stat line, but he had 7 catches for 207 yards receiving. Dude, buddy, the Notre Dame DBs didn't have an answer for him all night.
Yeah.
Notre Dame did change their game plan from the Miami game. They actually fed their 2 great running backs. They both got busy. Love had 94 yards and a tud with some receiving yards and a touchdown. Jadarian Price, 12 carries, 68 yards and 2 tuds. It was more of like A&M has way more levels to their offense now with the receivers they kind of have, and Reed kind of becoming a more complete quarterback, which is great for him. And then it all comes down to Notre Dame scoring with 2 minutes and 52 seconds left. But then the holder, who is Tyler Buckner, who started at Notre Dame, transferred to Alabama, didn't work last Alabama, transferred back to Notre Dame, and drops the ball on the hold for the extra point.
And they would not stop showing his face.
No, they would not.
The rest of the game. They just were like, yeah, screw this guy. We're going to just make him look miserable for the rest of the game.
You might as well put a wanted poster of him like out around the town, like all across for all Notre Dame fans across the country and around. So they only go up 6 because of that, and then A&M puts together a great game-winning drive to seal it in an unbelievable game. And you talk about, you had to start off with a blocked punt for a touchdown in the beginning. You have, turnovers on both sides of the ball. Unbelievable game, in my opinion, Chad. And now I can't remember Notre Dame giving themselves as difficult of a schedule maybe ever.
Yeah.
Because they still have to play Arkansas on the road.
Yep.
Plus their typical like USC and all them. I don't think that either that Notre Dame played bad. It's just like just the way it kind of felt, kind of ended up for them. And now they're 0-2. And I feel like does like a 2-loss, when all is said and done, I know this is very, very early, but knowing what we know about how they kind of situate these teams for the playoff, do you think a 2-loss Notre Dame team makes the 12-team playoff?
So yes, because here's what I see. So you can easily chalk up, especially if A&M and Miami do what it looks like they're on pace to do, right? You lose to Miami in Coral Gables, and then you lose to Texas A&M in a barn burner at home, very close game. Then you have like Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, USC, BC, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. You should not lose. If you want to be in the playoff, you should not lose any of those games. And there's going to be some of those games that are going to blow somebody out. And that's where they're going to you have a whole like 3 months to change the narrative completely and to become one of the hottest teams in college football. They will completely ignore the fact that they play nobody the rest of the way. Like I say nobody. There are no ranked teams, and there will not be any ranked teams on this schedule because none of these teams are going to be ranked by the time they play them. So yes, absolutely. This is what Notre Dame does. Notre Dame that's why they have like special rules and stuff for them, is because this is like their standard thing that they do. Right. It's just, this is the toughest schedule you've ever seen them open a season with.
Right.
They've done this before where it's just like you have a smattering of like a challenging game here and a challenging game there, and that's pretty much it. And the rest of it is the military academies. God bless them. No disrespect.
Right.
But let's be real.
It's not the 60s anymore.
These teams are not. They're not going to ever be in the top 10. So like, I want to see like a team. Let's see Notre Dame play Florida's schedule. I don't know that Notre Dame does better than Florida.
Nope.
This year. And that's the thing. It's like go. Everybody should have to play Florida's schedule.
Yeah, right.
Funny. It's like everybody. Go see what you got.
Right. And listen, I know that we talk a lot of shit on Texas A&M on this show, but golf claps to you. We got it done. Took care of business. Looked good doing it, in my opinion.
That's right.
They did what mattered.
The good news is, as an LSU fan who will never stop calling them Texas 8-4 until they prove me otherwise. The great news is that we still have like the whole season for them to pick up. They're 3-0. We have the whole season for them to pick up those 4 losses.
Didn't they go 7-0 or like 6-0 to start the season?
7-1. They lost to Notre Dame. They went 7-1 and still ended up 8-5. They went 1-4 down the stretch. So I never put it out of possibility for them. And look, they have after this they've got a bye, but then they've got Auburn at home at A&M in College Station. Then they got Mississippi State in College Station. Then Florida in College Station. Then they go to Fayetteville. They come to Baton Rouge. They go to Columbia, Missouri. They go to South Carolina. Or no, South Carolina goes to A&M this year. That's right, because they lost in Williams-Brice last year. And then they go to Austin for the the bonfire game. So like there's still a chance. There's still a chance. There's a lot of room for an 8-4 season for Texas.
Absolutely. So we talked about
the possibilities.
There was 2 teams of which I said, "Hey, upset alert. I'm calling it now." I will give an honor asterisk to this game. I did say that Vanderbilt was going to beat South Carolina. It was not in the fashion that I thought this was going to be. Lenora Sellers gets knocked out of the game quite literally midway through and is unable to return, and Luke Doty takes over and doesn't do too bad. It's just not Lenora Sellers, and Pavia's Pavia. And also, it's so proven otherwise. He is the ultimate road dog. That's because you and back-to-back weeks. Well, I mean, Virginia Tech is just showing they might not be good at all because they had Old Dominion walk into their house and beat them. So that's a whole different story. But you go into Blacksburg at night and whoop them. and then you do this exact same thing, Williams Bryce at night, Sandstorm, and do even better and whoop this team as well. And it's crazy. Like Pavi didn't have an insane stat line. But he does what Vanderbilt needs to do, and they run that offense to perfection. The amount of like guys getting touches on that offense is like actually insane. If you pull up like the stat line, like there's so many guys like 2 carries, but it's like they both are like for like, first down or like 2nd and 8. You know what I mean? It's just like little things like that like go a long way when you are playing like a Vanderbilt. And this is the first time they've won in SC since 2008. So Vanderbilt just taking themselves on a trajectory we thought we would quite literally never see out of them is pretty damn awesome. And I feel bad for Lenora Sellers for not being able to be around for the whole game.
10 ball carriers receive at least 1 carry.
Yep.
And they only had 2 that had more than 2 carries.
That's what I'm telling you, bro. It's crazy. They spread the ball around. It's unbelievable how they.
And their leading receivers tied with 4 receptions.
I'm telling you, bro.
They had 7 guys catch passes in the game too.
It's crazy, but they still put up 31 points doing that. So it's pretty solid. I can't hate.
Their defense came to play too. Let's
absolutely. No doubt, man. No doubt, absolutely. So shout out Vandy, shout out Diego Pavi for making me look good on the internet. Thanks, shout out to you. And then Arkansas travels to Oxford and falls just a little bit short. I think that this game was in Fayetteville. We might look at a different game. Chad, your thoughts?
I think this game was almost a different game anyway. But let's just get right into it. So, like, the first thing is Austin Simmons gets hurt. So he's iffy. Lane Kiffin decides to bench him and put in this Trinidad Chambliss kid. This dude lit it up, bro. Like he went crazy. And I'm here for it. Like, I love seeing like dudes step up into a role and get it done when they have their opportunity before them. But I swear, I started to wonder, like, am I watching Baylor SMU? What is going on here? It was just like haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, like dudes just like dropping in coverage and like a dude's like wide open and like what the hell's going on? Guys running the ball down people's throats. Taylor Green, 22 for 35, 305 and a touchdown. Had 115 yards rushing and a touchdown. And then they had Mike Washington with 65 and a touchdown. Braylon Russell only had 37 carries, but he also had a touchdown. But again, similarly, like to what we talked about with the rushing game for Vanderbilt, 10 different guys caught passes for Arkansas in that game. Ole Miss, on the other hand, is getting this great production out of this Trinidad Chambliss kid who's like making his first start in the SEC. 21 for 29, 72%, 353 at a touchdown. And he has 15 for 62 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So you have all these things going on. And then meanwhile, it's a 2-score game. Arkansas scores, makes it a 6-point game. They get the ball back. They get a stop and get the ball back. And they are driving with under 2 minutes to play. They're inside the 25, dump it out on a little like flare out to a wide out on like a not really like a bubble screen, but just like a little flare out in the flat. He tries to make a move on a guy, gets past him, hits the next guy, rip, fumble, the first turnover of the game, and that's it. Otherwise, they're possibly scoring a touchdown because nobody can stop anybody. They're scoring a touchdown to beat Ole Miss in Oxford.
Do we know a team with worse luck than the Arkansas Razorbacks?
Bro, what happened last year with Texas?
It's like they play a perfect game and have a team who is like on paper supposed to be better than them, dead to rights, or they have them on their heels and something inexplicable occurs and just that's it. And it's not because Arkansas didn't play well enough or Ole Miss was so much better than them. It's just it's just Arkansas going to Arkansas, and it's so unfortunate because they deserve a little bit better. And I will say every week, because we are a pro Taylor Green podcast here at the South End, and we are a big fan of his. So shout out to him and shout out to Trinidad Chambliss for balling out in your first start in the SEC. Shout out to you, dude. Right. This game, I don't know if I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched much Georgia Tech football in my life, but I've never heard Bobby Dodd. Even when we played down there, maybe because we beat them most of the time.
I was going to say, what do you mean you haven't watched? You've watched more Georgia Tech football than I have.
This is true. This is true. I was going to say we played every Clemson travels down to Bobby Dodd, Atlanta, and we have a slugfest in a game where, and also I'm just gonna stop all the LSU haters that are gonna use Clemson.
Yeah, I don't
care. Bro. This says way more about Georgia Tech than does Clemson. Let's be
for sure.
This is what I have been saying this, and I say it again. They earned my eternal respect after almost ruining my day. In a Friday Night Athens last year, Canes King is setting up Georgia Tech football for greatness for years to come, in my opinion. And him and Brent Key are doing something awesome down there. And I think you have a coach who played for your program just like we do at UGA. I think it makes a massive, massive difference because they believe in that program and they want the best for those kids at all times. Haynes King, once again, shockingly, a statistical leader in all categories on the offensive side of the ball for Tech. 20 for 28 and 211 is unbelievable passing. 25 carries, 103 yards rushing, a touchdown. Most carries, most rushing yards for the Tech side. Tech was on their ass early, forces a fumble. Then they take the early lead. Jamal Haynes is great. Him and Haynes King run that read option to perfection like every time. Cade Klubnik had some tough sledding, in my opinion. He did not. The Cade Klubnik we saw play against Texas, in my opinion, has not fully shown up. I mean, he has, but he shows flashes of the Cade Klubnik that we played in Atlanta to start the season last year, the one that we beat. You know what I mean? It's just he's very up and down for a team that had all of this media attention and oh my God, they're going to possibly win the national championship and sweep the ACC and do all of these things.
Yep.
They just have not shown to be any of those things just yet. Haynes King throws for 206 a touchdown, also throws a pick and fumbles the ball. So 2 turnovers on his side, rushes for 62 yards. I will say this, Tech in years past, when you have a game like this, it's more of okay, Tech's got Clemson on their heels early, but then Clemson's eventually going to hit that play, figure it out, and now it's going to be all she wrote. They're going to open the floodgates and turn this game around. So they throw a long pass to Bryant Wesco. Great. He just scampers and scores, and okay, now they're winning. And you're like, okay, is this going to be what turns the tide? And then once again, Georgia Tech forces another fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they said, they force another fumble. Tech forces the fumbles the ball, and then was able to force a 3 and out to then negate that entirely.
Right.
And what's also cool, Tech goes down and scores, and then to then make it a 1-score game, they run the Philly special to a T with Haynes King being the recipient. So it was awesome. And then I've never seen a better executed fire drill field goal to seal it at the end, dude.
It's not just a fire drill. Like a fire drill for a 35, 40-yard, maybe 42-yard field goal. That's one thing. But to kick a 55-yarder when your career long is 53 and to just do it like you do it in your sleep is crazy to me. Yeah. Like I remember, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Like I remember when a 45-yard field goal would have you just sitting on the edge of your seat. Like, I don't know if he can make this. This is a long field goal. And now, hell, a 45-yard field goal is you better make that. Like, that's a gimme. Yeah, now it's you only start biting your nails when it's 57, 58 or longer.
Yeah, dude. College kickers are getting better and better. NFL kickers too, man. Brandon Aubrey just hit the easy 64-yarder in the world this afternoon for the Cowboys. Yep. Yeah, dude. To do all that, and then Brent Key, arm around Haynes King in the center of Bobby Dodd. They rushed the field. It was electric. Listen, The ACC is not a foregone conclusion by any means, and they are really holding their weight across that conference, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be a lot of teams competing for those for the conference championship when it all comes down to it. Down in Florida.
So hang on just a second before we finish that up. So, like, I'm going to say this about Clemson because
please do.
Yeah, the assumption was like, okay, so play LSU, whoever wins that game is kind of set up for the playoff. Whoever loses that game is not out of it. But losing this game and playing like they did against Troy last week, you're just like, man, y'all better get it together. But they actually have a path where you look at, like, they've got Syracuse at home. You better win that game. If you don't win that game, you're done. Like, it's over. Like, and I don't think they're going to fire Dabo Swinney, but like at some point the rumbling starts to happen where I don't think it's ever really happened yet there, because I think they just love him so much, and he brought them 2 national titles, and it hasn't been that long ago, and they're still like perennially like the best team in their conference. So it's just kind of like it's not like when you're at LSU or Georgia and Alabama just keeps dunking on you, and you're just like, yeah, we're tired of this. You got to go do something about this. No one has had like Clemson's number in the last 15 years since Dabo's been there, right? So he's got that going for him. But you better go beat Syracuse. Then you get a bye. Then you go to Chapel Hill. You're going to destroy Bill Belichick in North Carolina. You're going to beat BC. SMU doesn't look that good. They come to Clemson. Then you get another bye. Duke doesn't look good. Duke just lost to Tulane. Actually, I think we'll get into that in a minute. I think Tulane looks better than Illinois based on what I saw on Saturday. Then you got Florida State coming into Clemson. That's your chance right there. If you win everything going up to that game and you actually beat Florida State, which is very much attainable, like this is doable. They come to your building, to Fake Death Valley. It's waiting there for them. Then they got Louisville, Furman, and then finish it out at Williams-Brice against South Carolina. Clemson's got to like circle the wagons quick, but it's by no means over. I look at them the same way that I look at Notre Dame, except they actually have. If Notre Dame had a Florida State on their schedule where they could get that signature win, it would be a whole different thing, or that risk of another loss. Clemson's in a position where they should win the rest of their games minus that Florida State game. And if they somehow pull that off, now you're looking at a 2-loss Clemson team who beat Florida State. And hell, for all we know, that might put them in the ACC championship game playing Miami. And then it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how this stuff happens. We can be very quick to write teams off.
For sure.
This early in the year. Hand to God, like I admit it. It's my, I own this. I eliminated Notre Dame when they lost to Northern Illinois. We
both did. We said
I was like disqualified.
Yeah, get out of here.
I don't care what else you do. Disqualified. What do? They just run through the whole playoff system and get to the national championship game.
Yeah, and then you can't argue with that.
Yeah, so you can. We have to start looking at this more like we do NCAA basketball, where like that stuff that happens early in the season, you can still overcome it, and you can't write anybody off because of one bad loss early in the year.
Yeah, just because like you lose early doesn't mean that team just goes away entirely like for the rest of the year. Like they
especially
still
not a team that's got this pedigree,
Right.
Like
they don't just go away because they lose on the road to Georgia Tech. And shout out to Georgia Tech once again. But
and Georgia Tech's actually good. That's the other thing. Like, this is not like they lost to some scrub. They lost to a really good team, and you can say what you want about Troy, but Troy was up 16-0 in that game. Clemson scored 27 unanswered points to finish that game off.
Yeah.
So like they've got something there. They just have to figure it out. They haven't done it yet. So all right,
Haynes
go on
King
here.
is also my should have been a pump the tires candidate, if I'm being honest with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dog. Well, I guess US or Florida. I don't know what this says.
No, I did the wrong thing. No, I did the wrong thing. That's my bad. Oh shit. Hang on. There we go.
All
right.
Technical difficulties. We're good. All right. Anyway, producer, come on. I'm kidding. Miami. Mollywops, US.
Bro, for real.
But I'm so, like, and I wanted this to be a game. I might have taken USF at an alt spread with like a little bit more room just to see what would happen. It didn't matter. Miami said, "That's cool, man. You guys won 2 games in a row. Now, here's all that." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just kind of takes care of business.
I was talking to somebody while we were watching getting ready to watch the LSU game, and that game was still in. It had a really long delay for weather. There were a bunch of games that had like really long weather delays. But he was like, "It's still, they could still come back and make that a game." I was like, he's like, "They're not getting blown out." I was like, "It's 28-6 in the second quarter. That's the definition of getting blown out. Like, unless you got Cam Newton hiding somewhere, you are getting blown out." And sure enough, they continue to get blown out. Shout out to Sean. But anyway, 49-12, and it makes so now it makes LSU's 2 wins against their high profile teams that they've beaten not look so great. But trust me, there's plenty of stuff left on the schedule for LSU to go through. That'll be plenty meaningful going forward.
Know. But I think this says a little bit more about Miami in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, like, look, what I'm starting to learn is when I saw what Alabama did to Wisconsin, and then I saw what Miami did to South Florida, and what South Florida did to Florida, and what Miami did to Notre Dame, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, Miami and Florida State might just be good again,
which is great for college football.
Totally cool. Like, yeah, let's bring it.
Run it back, baby. Here we go. No, listen. I saw people will continue to ask me because I'm the only Georgia fan most people know around here. And they say, "What do you think about Carson Beck?" And I heard it said so well. Sometimes you just find your fit, and Carson Beck so far fits super great at Miami.
And he scored that rushing touchdown. He just went over to the thing and he just kind of did this. He just kind of like took it all in. Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, he's home. Like you can tell
he's meant to be. Listen, and Gunner with his receding hairline and hat tan from fishing all summer and his bald spot winning in Neland Stadium is exactly the type of, everybody it worked out for. I think it worked out for both sides.
That's right. Sometimes it's that way. Sometimes it can be, and it's okay for it to be that way.
Yeah, exactly. It can't. There is such thing as a win-win scenario in these types of situations. Like, I know it's shocking to some people,
like UCLA and Tennessee. Psych.
No. That's a whole different podcast.
That only worked out for one team, but anyway.
Absolutely did. So there's other games that happen around the country this weekend. Texas is still really working to find their sledding with Arch at the helm. I mean, they ultimately win this game. They just haven't really looked good doing it yet. Like they're 2-1.
No, listen, hey, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay, sorry.
Call a spade a spade. Arch looks like trash right now.
Okay, I didn't know I was like, oh, sorry, sir.
Let's be for real. Dude went 11 for 25 against UTEP with 114 and a touchdown and a pick, 4.6 yards per attempt. He also ran the ball 9 times for 50. Like, if your quarterback, who's supposed to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, who comes from the Manning family tree, is having to run the ball to get you points on the board against UTEP. I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. There's a lot of talent on that roster.
Yep.
And I think Drew said it best when he said, like, they're going to mess around and, like, lose to A&M or lose to Oklahoma or something like that. And it's going to be just like Ohio State and Michigan, where they're going to decide to stop being chicken and to actually start, like, challenging downfield and trying to make some of these guys make plays that they've been holding back too much. I kind of feel like Texas looks similar to LSU offensively in that regard, except that, like, LSU's defense looks way better because we played, like, against teams that have more offensive potential. But also I feel like our offense hasn't been as putrid. Like,
yeah. Dude, the UTEP quarterback had a way better day than Arch.
Huh?
The UTEP quarterback had a better – no, he didn't. He threw for 2 picks. But he threw – he actually threw for yards.
He didn't throw for 40. He didn't complete 44% of his passes.
And that's the double transfer. He was at It's Malachi Nelson. He was at USC. That he was behind at Boise State, and now he's at UTEP.
Yeah.
But I don't and I didn't want to. I felt like I was taking crazy pills. Maybe maybe we're just right. And I'm like, you've never really seen him play college football, and we're just like assuming that he's going to be amazing based off next to nothing. And everybody in the media is just kind of running with that. It's just going to be because we say so.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of
arch madness to arch sadness to arch flatness. Yeah. And that's where we are right now. He's just
clip that.
That's right.
I mean, we'll see how that goes on. We play them later in the year. You mentioned this game before, Chad. Tulane takes care of Duke, and they beat their $7.5 million man, their former quarterback, and take care of business there. And I did not like the uniforms they wore in that game. I don't know if you saw what they were wearing. It was like this dark green on top of this powder blue and powder. It just didn't. It hurt my eyes, so I just didn't really watch the game.
It's ocean imagery, man. Because they're close to the ocean ish. It's like the Gulf of Mexico, but still, or the Gulf of America. Depends on who you're listening to. But anyway, yeah. So Tulane, this score is really stupid. Like this score belies the beatdown that this game was. It was 24-3 in the second quarter, and Duke scored late in the second quarter to make it 24-9. And before that, now the finals 34-27, which looks like, oh, it was a one-score game. No, they made it a one-score game late with like 1 minute left because it was 34-16, and then they got like a touchdown and a field goal late with like onside and kicked it onside kick, kicked it out of bounds, whatever. They were trying to get back. Duke had a chance, but like I go back to like comparing this to Illinois last week. And yes, I'm sure Duke probably had like a little bit of a letdown. You can put some of that into that, but like, this Retzlaff kid from BYU, I don't know that he's not better than, or performed better than, he reminds me of like Luke Altmaier. He reminds me of,
he was the reason BYU was good last year.
He reminds me of like, Haynes King and Jackson Arnold, and who's the other guy that we were? Napier, where it's like he has the ability to hit his receivers downfield and make big plays and push things downfield, but he loves to just cut you up. Dude, with his legs.
Yeah, he had BYU contending for the Big 12 championship for the spot in that game, contending to be. They were like the probable Big 12. Champion participant from the in the playoff until they weren't, and it's because of him. And people like around the internet, he's the first Jewish quarterback in Brigham Young history, whatever. So they started calling it BYU, and now they're calling it Tulane.
Yeah,
so he's taking care of business down there against Duke. Against he has the job now, man. He's looking good doing it. And then,
he's definitely not the first Jewish kid to go to Tulane. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
But he was 15 for 23 for 245 through the air. Not a bad stat line, right? He also had 17 for 111 and 4 tuds on the ground. Yes, 4 touchdowts on the ground.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
Like all their touchdowns.
The dude is legit. Like he's got skills to pay the bills, and he didn't cost $8 million or $7.5 million. Congratulations, Duke. How you feel about that now?
That's crazy. By the way, you just want to. That's just a crazy number.
That line is insane. Yes.
4 tuds is insane. It's the quarterback.
For the quarterback for a rushing quarterback.
Yeah, unbelievable. And to put a bow on this week 3 recap.
Yeah. Congratulations, Alabama. You beat a bad team. Your offense looks like you got on track.
They beat a third-string quarterback.
Yeah. And look, Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Ty Simpson, they did their thing. They ran the ball a little bit. They really took advantage of. It's just a bad Wisconsin secondary. Bad there are a couple times where Wisconsin was able to generate a pass rush, but Ty Simpson was back there just camping out, throwing the ball. So this is another one of those teams where it's just okay, so how many teams in the Big Ten actually offer resistance? I don't know. That's been my whole thing. Is this. It's not to say that Ohio State's not good and that Michigan, when they've been good, aren't good, and that Oregon's not good. It's that the week in, week out resistance that you actually have to face. That's why, when I watch the slate every weekend, I'm looking at them Minnesota, Michigan State. Nah, I'm good. I'm not watching that game. Not because it's not going to be entertaining, but because it is of no consequence. Has nothing to do with anything. It will be of no consequence. Ole Miss, Arkansas, game of consequence. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, game of consequence. Some of these teams actually have a shot at making it to the playoff. So that's the difference. And this has been the case the entire time I've been alive.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, I love how they have this game scheduled for this time period. Could you imagine if we had this game in 2013 or 2012?
Alabama, Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah, bro. Oh, my. That would have been this big like that.
But that's what Alabama does.
Right.
And I think they got caught slipping. They got caught slipping. They thought they could get Florida State when they were down. And it didn't work out that way, did it? Oh, well.
It did not. Well, yeah, hey, they move along, and we'll see you in 2 weeks there, Bama. I'll talk to everybody here in the comments real soon, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot to say to each other. A lot of nice things to say to each other. I'm sure it's going to be so just, full of love and, hey, buddy, you're good for you, and, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm here for it. Doesn't matter what you have to say. We should appreciate everybody for stopping by. Those who have been here through the live. We were live today, if anybody didn't notice.
That's right.
Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. This has been the South End Zone for Chad and for me. We appreciate everybody. We out.
Ladies and gentlemen. Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.